Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Crafts with John. Happy Thursday. Last show of the week, by the way. I'm going to be traveling, so I'm going to no show tomorrow. But we're still working through our strategy tweaks and evaluations. This week has been all about how you break a strategy down, how you tear it apart, evaluate where you are with it, decide if you want to play it or not, right? I think that's the point that I'm trying to make all week. And I'm using the Butterburg strategy as kind of the sacrificial strategy to go through it with. The process that I'm going through this week, and let's review it real quick. I want to make sure that we are remembering what we're doing. We're breaking strategies down in terms of like, what's the goal of the strategy, right? How expensive is it to play? How volatile is it? What are its win and loss conditions? How does it perform against the come out roll, super short rolls, medium 3 to 5 or 6 to 10 length rolls, or the monster roll? Does it perform well in all the conditions? And therefore, deciding whether or not you want to play it or not. So I've been using the Butterburg all week as kind of the strategy to sort of figure that stuff out. And it's good. I like the strategy. It's fun to play. It's got some issues that we're going to go over here in a little bit, but I wanted to kind of recap the strategy at the table a little bit and sort of make sure that we understand why I'm doing this. Looking at the chat, and Skill has kind of, I'll put your note up, Skill, when it's time to go to the table, because I think you've hit on where I landed yesterday with this thing about fixing one of the big holes to it. So we'll talk about that for sure. I see that Mike has come back with a new craps related handle, On Point Craps. That's used to be Honey Beginnings, so I don't have to call you Honey anymore, which is great. Let's call you Dude now. On Point Craps, you're going to start a channel, it sounds like, which is great. I have your email. I have comments for you. I will write you back this afternoon. I got a huge day at work, but I'll get back to you for sure. I see Waylon's here. Somebody new. Mr. Across is here. Yeah, Skill, and I'll get to this. The back wall and hop 7 eat you up, right? The problem with most things, and I'm going to talk about this at the table, Skill, for sure, is that you pay this tax, right? The get out of jail tax, or whatever you want. Maybe it's like we call it a bond or something, but getting through some of these things with hedges and other things, it costs you a lot of money. So we're going to try and reduce our overall risk with the strategy here. And I see the Hawaii is here. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's good to see y'all. It's good to see y'all. Who else? 555 is always here. I love you, Greg. Yeah, and we'll talk about the lay bets here in a minute. And of course, Waylon's here. And Dorcel, hey Dorcel, I haven't seen you. I don't think I saw you yesterday. Hit the thumbs up. Dorcel says you have to, so there you go. Anyway, let's break this thing down, shall we? Let's look at the Butterburg. The Butterburg, as you know, does this. Oh, and Vip is in here as well. Good morning. Good morning. The Butterburg works like this. The way that Dan plays it, $100 do we don't. Now, you know I can't play that here. Greg reminded me yesterday, he's like, just because you can't play it doesn't mean we can't play it. You should talk about it. I will talk about it today. There's a reason also why I don't like the do we don't, and I'll show you that reason here in a second. He does it with $600 odds and a 640 across bet. Now, depending on the point, that 600 in odds won't always cover you. As a matter of fact, no matter what the point is, it won't cover you. 500, if it's a 6 or an 8, you're going to win 500 on a 7. You're still going to lose 140 bucks. So that's not the greatest coverage, but it's okay. Like I'm doing it too. I'm going out here with less coverage on the 7 than I'm covered. Sometimes you take a known risk when you're doing this stuff. He does a sacrificial roll, and I'm going to cover that with you in a minute too. He does a win and turn off, or 3 hits, and then he does 3 hits and out, 2 hits and out, 1 hit and out, depending on how froggy he's feeling, I guess, right? But basically, with each hit, you turn that bet off or pull it down like I do. And then you take 1, 2, or 3 hits and you're gone. That's how he runs it. Now, there's going to be some differences that I do here. One, the do we don't, I don't do. And I don't like it anyway. And I'll explain to you why when I get back to the table. But that's the basic Butterburg setup. It's a really simple strategy. Do we don't, odds, go across, every hit, you pull the bet and the winnings down. It's a very, very simple strategy. I've tweaked it a little bit, as you know. My way of doing it, that's the issues. Where's the my way? Oh, I might have taken it away. My way of doing it is different. I go less, right? I'm not betting, $1,000 every hand. I don't run around with $10,000 in my pocket because I got to do it 10 times. I won't do that. I'm here at $100 on the don't pass. I'm here at 160 across. and I'm doing the same basic mechanics. I take a hit, turn the bets off. The issues with the strategy, I think, come up, and I want to talk about the sacrificial roll here in a minute, but the issues with the strategy are here. The issues are, for me, beating the come out. If I'm not going to play the do-we-don't, where I have a bet on the pass line and a bet on the don't pass at the same time, that essentially cancels out the come out roll. I don't play that way because A, I can't, and B, when you play that way, the only way to get 7 coverage is with odds. And you've got to lay a ton of odds out there to get the same coverage a flat bet would get, up to 2 times as much. And that just puts more of your bankroll at risk. So in other words, if the 4 is the point, and you have a do-we-don't, 100 and 100, you got to put $200 out there to get the same coverage that I would get with a $100 flat bet. That gets through. That's a big time increased risk. Now, is that offset by the come out 7 taking away my bets? Possibly. Over time, I don't think that works out. Over time, you're only going to get, the 7 comes only 17% of the time. That bet is 85% of the time that bet gets through. I don't believe that that's that big of a problem. I'm not a huge fan of those big odds after the point. Another part of the strategy that hurts you is the early point. So in my case, when I'm 160 across and I get an early point hit, I bet it including the point. So the point comes out, you're going to win probably $35 depending on the number. You lose your 100. So you're going to lose $65 if the point gets hit quick. You're going to lose 100 if you get whacked on the come out loss, right? If you have a come out 7 and you lose that don't and you don't go back like I won't do, now your 160 is totally exposed for the whole time of the roll, which means you're potentially out to 260. So there are 3 big holes here, right? Getting out of the gate is a hole. An early point is a big hole. If you don't get out of the gate, now you're totally exposed. And there's where the Butterburg has burned me. Yesterday, it burned me in all 3 of those spots. You saw that happen live yesterday. So today we're going to address all of those for sure. Now, I want to talk about a couple of things. Somebody had wrote me an email or a comment and asked about the sacrificial roll, okay? The sacrificial roll that Dan plays, which is come out point, he turns his bets off, wastes 1 roll to avoid the 0.7 out, and then he goes in and plays. And he has said that's kind of a superstitious thing. He just feels like it's a good thing to do. I'm going to remind you of a couple of things. Now, I did a video. Let me go ahead and give you the screen here. I did a video a while back, actually a long time ago. The video is called, and it's in the Crap Strategies playlist here. It's called Pressing Opportunities Truth Bomb. It's the one here in the middle, right there. That video goes through in depth a lot of the probability. It's a big math video. Here's the results of it. I'm going to show you the results. The results of it are this. We find that, and this is when I say rolls at count 0. Okay, I logged 10,000 rolls. Actual rolls, or they're a combination of RNG rolls and actual human rolls. What you find is that 28.5% of the time, right here, this first line that I'm highlighting, it's a 0.7 out. 0 rolls means no rolls after the point. What this measures is the number of score hits, or the number of hits after the point's been established. So the average roll length, as Shackelford will tell you, is 8.5. That's true and false. 8.5 rolls is the average number of times somebody holds the dice. So including come out crap numbers, the come out 7s, the point itself being established. Okay, but those 3 things count. After the point's been established, we see that 28% of the time, it's a 7 right after that. That's why Dan is so freaked out by it, right? And I understand that, because although there is always a 16% chance of the 7 every roll, it seems to occur from a frequency standpoint on this roll 28% of the time. For whatever reason, after 3 or 4 rolls, boom, there comes the 7. It seems to fall here a lot, which is a scary number. If you skip the sacrificial roll and just look at the next one, it's still 20% of the time you only get 1 hit. Think about that, right? When you make any strategy, this has got to be numbers that are in your head. You have to know that over the big roll of time, almost 30% of the time, you don't get out of the gate, right? 20% of the time you get 1 shot, 15% of the time you're getting 2, and 10% of the time you're getting 3 rolls, okay? big, awesome rolls happen, but really you're living in this 10% of the time, you're gonna get about 3 hits. And that's kind of an ugly place to be, but it's the place that we live in, and we have to remember that. And that falls into this chart we did a long time ago of how often can you expect to see any number getting hit, okay? If we look down in here, there's only a 20-something% chance that a 4 ever gets hit, one time during a roll. Let's look at this line here. There's only a 24% chance that even a 6 gets hit or an 8 gets hit one time at all ever during a roll. So each number has a pretty low chance of being hit, right? The average roll length is about 3.5 to 4 after the come out number has been established. Those are real numbers over the course of time. Now, what do statistics tell you? They tell you nothing. These tell you things like what happens over the course of many, many, many trials. And the problem with that is that, and we'll use the example of the flipping of the quarter, right? We know that, I think actually Drunk Guy Explains gave us that the other day. Flip a quarter 100 times, you're gonna win 50-50 on average. Now, that could come 49 tails, 49 heads, tails, heads. That's how 50-50 could go, these enormous streaks. The probability of something happening does not give you a window into the frequency of when it's gonna happen or the likelihood of it happening next. And that's where a lot of the math folks, I think, get it wrong, because the actual math is the math. The likelihood and or the frequency of things happening, the distribution of those bad events or the good events is where the money's made. That's where streaks happen. That's where trends happen. And that's why, for me, knowing that there's a 28% chance of getting whacked on that first roll, I know that it's a possibility, but I'm not going to completely change my way just because of that. It's frequency. Just know that it's in the back. Just keep it in the back of your head. The chance of it happening is there, and that's why Dan does it. So I don't think it's a wrong move on his part. I just think that the fact that I know that that's a possibility, but also there's only a 25% chance I ever see a number get hit. Besides that, in this strategy here, you got to take your shot at it. So that's the thing. So there we go. That is the run up here. Again, Butterburg has got issues. Let's talk about these. Let's go to the table right now. We'll talk about the issues at the table. I'll show them to you in live mode, and we'll talk about a little reminder of where this thing lands. I want you to remember, because I think Brian asked yesterday and I didn't address it, how soon can you be even? You can be even as soon as you want to be. So let's go back there and take a look at a couple of things. And I'm going to go through, what do you call it? The payouts first, and make sure that we're reminded of where we are. So I see Waylon saying that George has rolled over 100 rolls with 7-7. That's pretty good. George can roll. Ed can roll. I keep going back to this, but if you rewatch the videos from the Crafts-a-thon and watch Ed roll, Ed was amazing in that thing. Twice he was amazing, not just once. He pulled it off twice with a little bit of a break. Oh, by the way, quick announcement before we go to the table. The videos for the Crafts-a-thon are done. I finally got them all rendered out. They're uploaded to Google Drive. I'm going to give every provider the weekend to pull their video down, and then I'm going to take the full thing down and put the small videos up, so we have easier way to watch them. So that's happening. All right, here we go. Go to the table, and let's chat about the strategy and see how this thing works. I'm going to go put my coffee over here. All right, so the setup for this thing, I'll put the point off for now. The setup here is one of these. It's 2 blacks and 3 greens. It's 275. That's how I play this thing. My levels are these. And what I'm doing is I want to get $100 in action on the don't pass. I want to get 160 across. So I'm going to turn, and every time I do this, I'll turn the 100 in for 4 reds or 4 greens. I'm going to turn one of the greens in for 5 reds. That's how I set this thing up every time. I keep it as a black and 3 greens in the rack because it takes less space. When I set myself up, I'll do it usually ahead of the roll. It'll be 160 across, all the greens, 2 of the reds, and I have 3 reds left over. Now that's the basic setup that I've been using for this thing. That may change, okay? Let's assume that we have a good roll. Let's assume that the roll goes according to the way we want to. And I definitely want to show you the way that I calculate the win percentages here and where kind of the good and bad points are. Now let's say that we lose the come out roll. Here's the first danger point. We lose the come out roll and we start out down $100. That would suck. In that case, and a point gets established, now you're at 160 across with 0 protection. And this is where this strategy has gone for me south most of the time. When I get a come out 7 and then an immediate 7, you're kind of out the whole 260, which that's the nightmare scenario. I don't worry about that. I'm not going to sweat it because A, I would bring enough bankroll to cover that. B, you know that every strategy has a nightmare scenario. Even the 555 craps way to play the don't pass, which is a simple $25 don't and a $30 lay. That has a nightmare scenario, which is the point being made 5-6 times in a row, which happens, right? There's a fire bet there. People have won that thing. There is a nightmare scenario in that strategy as well. You just got to know what it is. In this case, you got to fight, right? When I have this happen to me, right? Now you got to go fight up here, and maybe you stay up here for an extra hit or two to sort of build yourself back. It takes a little bit of work to get it done, but that's your first nightmare. The second one is a point gets established. Let's say it's on the 10, and you have an immediate 7. At this point, an immediate 7 would be awful. In this case, not terribly awful. You're going to get paid $50 in that 10. You'll lose your 100. So you're effectively down $50 at this point. So I set across, and not for the purpose of hedging against that point, but I want to make that a little less painful when it happens. And again, we're building up towards a replenishment of our stock. That's the bad places. You don't want to be in those. You don't want to be in a come out 7 loss. You don't want to be in an immediate 7 loss. You don't want to be in an immediate point hit. Those are the 3 points in this strategy where you're screwed. Anything beyond that, and you're going to be okay. Let's check it out. Let's do the 9 gets hit. We hit the 9 for $35. And what we do, we take all the money back to our rack. Here's the $15, by the way, that was change from buying in. So you have all this in your rack. Now, let's say the 7 comes right here and you lose all the money up top. And you win $100 on the don't pass in that scenario. Can you get back out again? Let's find out. We're going to turn the 100 in for 4 greens. We're going to try and get it across. And look at that. We have enough money in our rack to get ourselves across with the same $15 change. So if you get a point hit, the 7 hit after one number has been hit, that's the treading water point. You're going to be okay if the 7 comes after 1 point getting hit, which is good news. It makes that scenario not quite so bad. If that 7 comes early, you just reset your rack and you try it again, and it's okay, right? Sometimes you grind a little bit before you get the good one. That's fine. The strategy holds up to that. If you take a second hit, let's say that the 9 hits for 35 and the 8 hits for 35. Well, now, when you pull all this stuff down, now you're in profit. You're in a spot now where you're guaranteed to have a profit if you turn your bets off, and that's where Dan works. Dan works at the $100 bet level, so that $70 that I just pulled down is actually over, I think it's $280 that he pulls in. Get the light on here, get the shadows out of the way. So that's where his strategy works, the way he works it, right? I will, at this lower bet level, try for another couple hits, right? I'm here trying to win a little more at the lower bet sizes versus when I'm betting hundreds or 500s across the top. So that's the thing, right? There is the basic setup of it. And then, of course, the longer you play, the better you do. And we'll talk again yesterday about how do you handle the red chips, right? The red chips, I think, are where the interesting piece of this is. And I think talking about spreading the money out after score hits, you can take your reds and reinvest them through the don't come, getting more 7 protection as you go. Take your score hits and reinvest them as pass line bets or as place bets. So that's the run-up of it. Now, I'm seeing some notes in chat, and I definitely want to cover this. I'm going to go back to the screen here, and Skill and Luck starts the day out by saying this, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a lay. I don't love the lay, right? I don't love it, but I have to do it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to turn the puck off. These bets, because I already put them out there, we're just going to turn them off for the come out roll. What Skill would say to do, I'm going to grab $200 out of the bank. We'll probably, actually, we'll grab 200. 200 is fine. We'll make it even. And lay on a number. What number you lay on depends on you, right? The mathematical lay would be the 4 or the 10. There's only 3 ways to roll that. So instead of having 6 ways to lose that bet on a 7, now I've got 3 ways to lose it on a 4 or a 10. So you're reducing the number of ways to get beat, but you're also increasing the amount of money you have out here. Now there's $200 at risk to the 1-3, the 3-1, and the 2-2. That becomes the new danger point. So I can reduce the 7 crushing me by having the 4 out here, and hopefully that's not going to be what crushes me. I could also put 150 on the 11, or I'm sorry, 10 on the 11 to win 150 as another hedge, which means in addition to my regular 275, I really need $210 extra in my rack to get reused. Hopefully this 210 it's in the rack as a separate bankroll would be reused every come out roll and never get hit. Right? You never get a point of 4 hit. That'd be great. You could lay this money here. You could do like a 120 on the 5. You could do other options that you can do to protect the $100. Any combination of lay bet that you can do to protect against this, you can go out with 150 to win 100 to protect yourself against that on the 5. I wouldn't lay the 6 or the 8, but you could. Depends on how you're throwing and way you see the world, right? So we come out here with a lay bet to protect ourselves on the come out roll. That helps. And I'm okay with a $10 tax on the come out. That's fine. $10 on the yo is okay at the $100 level. That's a small tax to pay. One of these hits covers that, and you're going to end up being fine. In fact, you've got the $15 change from buying in. That actually covers the first one of those. It's actually pretty cool. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go out here with a come out lay. I'm going to lay the 10 instead of the 4 because for some reason I throw lots of 4s. And we'll go with that as our come out gambit along with $10 from the initial 15. That's how we're going to come out. I'm not going to try and protect the point. And let's talk about it. Let's say the point's let's say it's a 5, right? The point's a 5. You have options here. You could lay the 5. You could hop the 5, take down the place bet, hop the 5s, and say, well, we're going to hop the 5s for whatever. In this case, $5 each, you'd win $70 net. Doesn't quite cover that loss if you were to hit the point, but you also don't get the benefit of taking money back off the rack either. And again, hopping is bleeding, man. Hopping, especially in a long roll, hopping will bleed you. You're going to hop this thing twice while you're getting other score hits. It's going to cost you at least $20. I'd probably hop it for 7 each. So it's going to cost you $24 or $22, whatever that is. I think that's probably not the best way to go. You're saying, yeah, I know, Skill. You're like one track mind here. The lay, the 5 or the 9 is better. But I'm not a skilled enough shooter to hide the 5 or the 9 on a come out roll. So I know that you have a set that you use in a way that you throw that hides the 9. I don't have that. So you're putting less at risk for sure to lay the 5 or 9, but that puts an extra roll out there. Now you're 4 rolls can beat you instead of 3. For most of us, I think the 3 rolls that can beat you is the way. Now, what's going to happen here is this. I'm going to roll this out, and I'm going to roll a come out 10. You can bet your ass that I'm going to roll a come out 10 and burn myself here, but that's how it's going to be today. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to roll this out. I'm going to try the lay bet as a way of protecting against the 7. I don't love it. But later on, we may even run some don't comes through here and have that be our protection. So let's do that. I did explore, by the way, the idea of doing this, of having a come out back wall lay, which would require $200, 200 to win 130, minus $6 vig, so it wins 124, which covers this with a little bit of profit if a 7 were to come out, but you're guaranteeing yourself coming out of the gate $30 down, which means you now need 2 hits to get to the break-even point. That seems a little bit riskier to do. Although, I like the come out lay as a separate play, not as a play against that so much. I like it as an attack on the 7, not as a hedge against it. I won't be doing that. Jeff at Mid-Atlantic Craps rolled it out that way and had mixed success with it. So we're going to not do that. We're going to try the layway today and see how that plays out. And what I'm likely to do here is probably roll it just chuck and huck. I'm just going to sit here at the table and roll to get more rolls in today a little bit faster. So let's just do that. I'm just going to stand right here. We're just going to roll sort of front hand in and get into this thing. We'll see how this thing plays out. There's a yo 11, which is cool, right? First time out of the gate, we actually are going to win 150. We'll lose the 100. We'll drop that in. We'll put our 50 in the racks. We start out a little bit ahead here, which is actually never happens to me. There we go. Point's going to be an 8. We're coming out on an 8. We're going to lose that 10 bucks. The point is going to be 8. The lay bet, no longer needed, comes back to the rack. Okay, I'm going to leave that here in the front and just as is. Now I'm going to play the Butterburg today 3 times. At least 3 hands we're going to do. One hand, I'm going to just rack the winnings. I'm going to try and get a long enough hand to rack winnings and not go back out. Then I'm going to try and do it again where I show you one more time how it works when you replace the box numbers with place bets. And then I'll run it a 3rd time where I'm using the don't come. So you can see how you could morph the strategy based on table trend. Here we go. Next hit, these bets are now on. Let's avoid the 7 here. There's a yo, which doesn't matter. That's a hard 8, 4-4 hard 8, and here's that danger point, right? This is exactly what happened when I said was going to be a bad thing. It happens, right? The 8 pays 35, we lose the 100, okay? Would you have ever hopped the 8s? I don't think you would ever hop the 8s. I think I watched Dan try that, and it just, to me, it's not the kind of thing that I would do as a way to play. Now, the good news here is that we're going to lose our 100. We got lucky and had that nice win on the 11 earlier. So in my rack, I technically have enough money to go back out with a don't and replace the 11. I could put myself in the exact same spot that I was before. I typically don't do this. I typically say, well, the strategy didn't work the way I wanted it to. We're going to eat it and let it go. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to worry about the come out roll here. I'm going to keep what's in the rack. I'm not going to go put good money after bad, so to speak. We'll let it go. Let the person come back out. I'm not going to dig into here because I've budgeted X amount for my shooter. I'm just going to let this thing happen. Here we go. We're going to roll out randomly. The point is, or not point, there's 7 on the come out, doesn't matter. There's a 10, which it's interesting. If we had gone out, the 10 would have saved the 100, and then we would have lost 200 bucks on the very next roll. So fortuitous that we didn't do it that way. Now remember, we've already hit the 8. I'm looking to get money here because I'm behind. If you look at our rack right now, we have 100 here. We lost 100 there. I'm behind. I've got to get more hits here, at least one more hit, and then I'm going to evaluate the rack, and I'll show you where we landed here, okay? There's a yo. And the way that I play this, and I think you all know me enough by now, there's a hard 4, good hit right there. And I'm going to pay it the 50 bucks. I'm not going to worry about the VIGs. We're going to bring it back in, 50 for 1 normally. Now let's look at the rack and where we actually are. Because we took a big hit, right? That 8 crushed us over here on the don't. Quick pause, and while you're playing the game, play it like me and reevaluate your rack and let's see where you are, okay? We needed 175 to get out, right? There's 100, there's 75. On the rack, on the board right now, is 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are right now actually taking the 15 bucks in the rack. We're actually $15 ahead right at this moment. If I were to pull all this bets down, let's do it. Let's say, you know what? Turn me off. Pull everything down, please. Come back to the rack. There is 275 that we started with. And here's actually 30 bucks in reds that we have earned in profit. Just like that, right? Didn't do any work. We took a couple of hits. We got a good number on the 4. That was a great hit for us. And that yo helped us get through it. Even though we got planked on that 8, we're still in really good position here. So in this particular instance now, because I've forgotten where my bets were, I'm going to pull them all down. We're going to let ourselves restart the process here. But I wanted to show you that, like we would say, let's just I'll roll it out. Let's get to a 7, let the roll naturally resolve itself while I'm talking to you. But I typically do that. I will reevaluate my rack all the time. Say, where are we right now in terms of getting back to where we started from? Are we even? There's the 8. There's the 7. Where are we at any point in time? So I know as soon as I get back and I fought through the battle to get to even again, that's a win, even with a little bit extra here. So we did it. We survived one of the nightmare scenarios and made it through. Here we go again. We're going to go back out with the lay bet on the 10. We're going to go out with, I'll use 4 greens, $100 on the don't. I'll actually spread them out so you can see them. And we'll do 160 across. We'll do a $10 yo. And as you can see, I've got 35 bucks in the rack still from the last hand. I think that's why I like the strategy. It's really resilient. It feels like you're losing sometimes, but when you reevaluate and if you make a smart decision by pulling bets down when you are in a good spot to do so, you end up ahead. Come out was a hard 4. I'm glad I leave the 10 and not the 4. Point's going to move here. Lay bet's going to come down. We're going to lose our yo. That's a tax we've paid, but we won it once, so it's fine. Let's get at least 1 score hit in here before that 7 shows up, and we'll be in good shape. There's the boxcars. Doesn't matter. This time, I'm still going to play it by collection. I'm going to go one time through collecting all the way. That's a bad deal. But look what happens. Same as last time. You win 50 bucks on the 4. You lose $100 on the don't pass, which it happens. But coming back to the rack, if you notice where my rack stands, I have 100 bucks in the rack. I'm basically already good based on the previous run and this run combined. Puck's off, coming out again. There's the 10, hard 10. Not laying the 10 because I don't have a don't pass bet. Let's get a hit or two here and we'll go running for the hills. There's a 3. 1, 2, 3, shocker. There's a 4, which we're not on. We've already profited from the 4, thank you. There's a 5. And again, we'll pay ourselves $35. Comes back to the rack. Where are we? We have 150, almost 175, and there's $100 out here. So we're technically back even again, just like last time, right? That extra hit there, we're okay. We survived the nightmare. Here's the 7 that takes it all. Now this is where you're screwed, right? If I would have pulled those bets down, like I did last time, we'd have been in a good position. I didn't do it for hubris reasons, but here we are, right? We did fine. That strategy survived the nightmare scenario twice, which is kind of cool. Survived it 2 times. I didn't take advantage of the second one because I was talking and trying to make other points, but that's where that is. Okay, let's switch gears. We're going to take this down. I'm sorry, that was actually mine. I'm going to go ahead and color up the greens here as a black and put that there for now. Just so you can see, here we come again. Our next shooter's up. This shooter goes back to the rack. I'm going to build that shooter that we just lost money on. We're going to build him back up. This time through, I'm going to play this thing. There's my don't. There's my lay 10. I'll preset the bets. There's the 4 for the black. There's 5 for the green. I'll preset my rack. These bets will be off. 2 on the yo, 1 in the box. It's off. We're going to come out here to a 10. This time I'm going to play it, and we're going to go through, I think we'll go through and try and keep these as place bets this time. We'll see if we can't recycle them a little bit. And again, the table trend actually belies that. There's a 5 for the point. If it's really, oh, not that one, dumb, this one. If I'm really playing this at a table, what I've seen here is 2 not great outcomes, right? We had 2 really short rolls. I think what I would probably do here is honestly go through the don't come here because I'm not seeing the long roll yet. The trend of this table is short, ugly rolls. I feel like I'm going to take score hits now and come through the don't come. We're going to take this. The bets are on. Let's see if we can't avoid that 5 for a minute and get a couple of don't come hits. And of course, you know, like clockwork, we hit the immediate point. Fine. Lose the 100, win 35 on the 5. We'll bring it down. That was a loss from before, by the way. Puck is off, and now we're back to nightmare scenario 2, where we've hit the point too quick, and now we're going to be out here totally unprotected when the next point comes. Next point will be a 6. Here we go. I'm going to try and get a couple of hits here and go through the don't if I can. So we hit the point immediately. Boy, this is one of those things where today the strategy is just, it's really these quick point hits are the way of the day. Let's pull that all down. Now with that hit, we had $15 in reds that came back from the 6 cap plus the 35. This will become a don't come bet as soon as we get our next point established. I'm going to start working the don't here a little bit and seeing if I can't worm us back to some extra profits here. There's a 9. That was a 5-4-9 they rolled. Okay, we're going to come to the don't come here with the reds from before. That's a 2. Aces. That's a nice little bonus payment for us. Never going to complain about that. 7. Ooh, that's bad. That's really bad. This is the ultimate nightmare scenario where we lose everything for both of the wrong reasons, right? We have that was never set. So yeah, we lost it all twice, right? Point set, or the easy point takes the don't. Immediate 7 takes the rest, right? That's what I highlighted as the biggest hole in this strategy. So let's go ahead and get ourselves reset here. I take down the shooter that I had lost money on before. And what I've got here is 100, 50, 75, and 15, right? So there's my 175. I'll take this quarter here as just to clean it up. Where we landed after all that, if I put this back in the rack, is we've lost 1 complete shooter's worth of money. Okay, we lost 1, we're 275 down. Got to fight some more. Let's do it again. Today we are chop suey here, not getting anything done. There's 2 on the yo. Back to the rack that goes. Up comes our lay. Puck is off. Let's do it again. Aces. That works out well. Get $100 there. We're going to lose this 10. I'm going to go ahead and break that quarter and replace the yo bet that we just lost on the come out. Seeing some severe table chop right now. I don't love this. 6. Unfavorable point for our don't. Lay bet comes down. Now, we're in this weird spot here where, you know, I don't love this. I'm not going to hop. I think somebody said hop the set. I'm not going to hop the point. I feel like it's too much. I feel like it's too much here to do this. And again, the way that you could play this, right, with 160 out there, you could put a lay bet here to get extra 7 protection. That's the Dan way of doing it. That puts a lot of money at risk against the not very favorable number for you. That's why I don't do this. I feel like this is just extra money. And with me hitting points the way I'm hitting them today, we would have got hammered on odds today. So that's why I don't do it. I feel like I'm here to hit these numbers. I'm not here to hit that number. So sorry for the loss not being taken away. Let's roll out some more. Let's get anything but a 6 here and just keep rolling. There's a 5. That's good. There's a 5. We're going to rack those greens, and I'm going to run this through the don't. There's an 8. This will go behind the 8. The 8's going to come down and pay 35. Again, I'll put the reds in action. I'll rack those green chips up. There's a 5. We're in good shape here. This goes behind the 5. And the 5's not getting, we already got paid in the 5. One more score hit, we'll be done. Or not. There's a 7. But what happens here is this, we lose 110 on the inside. We're going to come down here and get paid. That is a quarter. We get paid 25. If I clean those up, that brings in 50. This brings in 100. And in that case, coming to the don't come did us a good thing, because here's 275. That shooter that we had lost earlier is more complete. And in fact, We have 175 here, plus some random reds that we're building towards getting back to even after getting hit earlier. So let's go ahead and play one more hand of it. I'll put that in play. We'll go with a don't. We're gonna break down that black into 4 greens. I'm gonna break down one of the greens into 5 reds. And we're gonna reset our board here. These bets will be off on the come out. There's your yo. And here we go. These are off. We're gonna lay the 10. It's gonna be a 6-2-8. So lay bet did its job. This bet did not. Point's gonna be an 8. And let's work the don't come still. I'm not seeing, actually no, I'm gonna work past line. I want you to see this. Even though I think it's gonna lose, I think this might not, maybe this is the roll that turns around, I don't know. But we haven't seen the pass line play yet. So we get a 9 as rolled. We're gonna rack the greens. I'm gonna use the $10 that we won, the 2 red chips, as the 9. I'm gonna move this back here, and I'm gonna set my white chips up. That's the 4, the 5, the 6, the 8, the 9, and the 10. I'll use these spacers to track where I am. So there is the 9 has been paid. And that way we just kind of keep track of which ones we've converted into smaller bets. It won't matter because we got a 7. So this time we're gonna come out behind, I think, by $10. Let's clean that up. Let's get our 100 out there. Yeah, we're gonna be behind a little bit. If I take this black and I make 4 greens out of it, and I come out with what was in my rack, I'm gonna reset those. We actually are okay. There's 160. There's the yo bet. We can come right back out. And again, we're not digging into here yet, right? We still are doing all right. There's the hopping or the lay 10. One more time. 9, new point 9. This feels like a grind today. I'm telling you, it's not normally like this grindy. Let's go. We're gonna go and do place bets this time. I put buy up there, it's actually a lay. Let's try and convert to place bets again. Here we go. There's a 6, 4, 2, 6. Pays 25, 35. We're gonna rack the green. I'll do it up here on the top shelf. We're gonna mark the 6 as being paid. I'm gonna place the 6 for 14 bucks, or 12 bucks rather. And here we go. Let's get a couple more of these things, huh? There's an 8, that's great. 8 pays 35 bucks. Rack the green chips. We're gonna take the red down and we're gonna place it for 12 bucks. Now the 8's been hit. So there's 2 of the numbers that have been replaced into regressed place bets. And if we get a long run, we're gonna be in great shape. There's the 5 getting hit. Again, pays 35. We're gonna rack those 2 green chips. We're gonna place that. We're gonna mark the 5 as being hit. Now we've got 3 of the numbers reduced down, okay? I've still got 75 of my original dollars at risk. I have $100 covering those 75 bucks. I'm in good shape right here. At some point, I could reduce this down. If I get one more hit up in here, I'm gonna reduce back down. And you'll see the power of doing that. It's gonna be a decision made on where you see the world. Here's a 4, 314. That's gonna pay, I'm gonna pay it like this. We're gonna pay 25 and 25, okay? There's the dollar vig. I'm gonna place the 4 for 10 bucks and I'm gonna rack all of the rest. Come to the rack with all this. I'm gonna clean these nickels up for a quarter. And again, we're gonna get a visual here. There's 100. There's 200 and 25 bucks. We brought back 225 to our rack. We have 50 bucks at risk. We have $100 protecting it. I can take this $100 back and put $50 down. This is a reduction of the don't pass when I don't need it. I only want to protect what I've got at risk. And right now, that's 100, 200, and 75 bucks. And guess what? At this moment, right now, we are 100% back to where we started from. So it battled back. I've got 4 regress bets. I've got 2 good sized bets here and a small don't. These basically cancel out. Okay. When I work the system this way, it works pretty good, right? Now you make a decision. And I see Dr. Don't Pass saying, take down all the points down. Let's talk about right now where we are. If I took everything down, that's 50, 100, and 10, 20, 30, 44. 144 bucks right now in profit. If I walked right now, we fought back, ugly rolls, our bankroll's intact. I have 144 out here. It's all profit. All profit. I could take the whole board down and go. Or you could make a decision and say, I'm going to take this down. I'm going to lock up 50, 60, 70, 80, 94, lock the $94 up and just play for the 7. Lock up 94, play for the 7. Or I could take all this shit down and play for the 50 on the don't pass. You got a choice to make based on how the table's going. 5 is saying take the 9 down, right? An option would be take these both down to $10 and take $30 home. That would be probably my move. And lock up my first guaranteed profit for sure, 30 bucks. I'd probably at that same point take down the don't pass. I'll turn the quarter in for 5 and make it a table minimum bet because you're going to have to if you're shooting. Okay. And now you're at essentially a guarantee of 50, 60, 70 bucks in profit. This is here because it has to be here. Now I'm gunning for the stars. Now I can press, and who cares? I'll probably do a mid press here because the full pressing, you want to be able to pull money every time. All that talking has let the random number generator find me a 7, which is great. We'll get paid down here. We'll pull it in. We'll lose all this. Smart playing right there, everybody. That's great. There's 75 bucks. So almost $100 in profit. And we worked from behind. I think that's really, really, really cool. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about all of the things because I'm looking over here at the chat and it's cracking me up. Let's go back to this picture here. So many options, right? Let me turn the light off so you don't get the head shine. So many options, right? I love having options, right? I love it when I can sense the table's going in a direction and say, you know what? You saw when I moved bets to the don't pass or the don't come, right? We actually won on those don't come bets. Now, unfortunately, we were behind earlier, but that worked out, right? We got 2 don't come bets set. They paid off on the 7. We were able to go back out clean again. When I switched over to making them place bets, we actually got to all the way across at table minimum, locked up a $75 profit, and that was good. Somebody in the chat says, where is it? Move the box number money to don't pass odds. Okay, cool. I could have taken the 9 and the 10 down and put them on odds, right? We would have won if that would have happened because the 7 came. Or, if you're already 7 rolls into a roll, you're making this trend decision, like maybe this is a better roll. And we'll reduce down and play for that. And I chose to get rid of the don't pass and play for the longer roll. Didn't work out, but I locked up a profit before I did it. I want you to notice, everybody, how I did this. Notice how I worked that rack the whole way through, right? At any point in time, when we were at even, right? Early on, I did it twice. I pulled the bets down and evened up my rack. From a volatility standpoint, let's go back to this thing. From a volatility standpoint, I got beat on the come out 7, and then on the come out I got beat on the 7 once. I got the point hit and took my 7 away, and then I got a 7 out immediately, right? I got whacked for a whole shooter. We lost a whole 275 one time. Twice we lost $100 on the don't pass from the point being hit. And it feels like, man, you're getting your ass kicked. But guess what? We never got down past shooter number 4 in our rack. We had 5 shooters. I never dipped into shooter number 3. We always worked on that first or second shot. And the strategy was resilient enough to do it, not just on its own, because we played it a different way. We played it with again, getting some regression. We played it with going through the don't. We did some things to it, and we made smart decisions pulling money down. So strategy on its own is not enough. You got to have strategy plus a little bit of smarts, plus a little bit of guts, and a little bit of what you're saying in the chat, a little bit of being gambler. You got to here's the time, right? When I talk about money management discipline, that's what I'm talking about, is getting your rack square. So you know, okay, right now I'm clean. Now I can go into aggressive. If I didn't do that, and you saw the one shot where I didn't do it. One time I pulled the rack down, I was clean. The next time I talked about it and I left the money out there, and we lost the very next roll because I didn't keep the rack clean. If you're keeping your rack clean all the time, you know when you are safe. It's an important thing. So anyway, yeah, hybrids are interesting, right? Hybrids, this is a hybrid strategy. I've turned the Butterburg into a hybrid strategy. I've turned it into a strategy where the basics are great. The don't pass, the across, rack the winnings. I've turned it into, for me, a rack the green, play the red strategy. So it's hybrid in terms of, I use the red chips to either go dark or go light. I reduce my don't pass exposure as the roll goes so that I can lock up profits. I like locking up profits. I'm a big fan of having more money than I came with. That's what I like to do. So that said, I'm trying to go back and chat just if I missed anything. Yeah, Waylon, why I profit locked up, why risk it? You're saying, and I think that goes back to when I had the table locked there. So yeah, that's it. And Dr. Don't Pass says, gambling bro, never take a don't pass 9 down 3 2. You're right. Dice have no memory, and I get all of that. You're a favorite in that circumstance. What I would do, and let's go back to the table. I want to go back because I was doing this last night, talking to myself about this. If I'm in this position, let's put the $100 back down there. Let me get the light back on. And I'm going to ask you guys to chat me the answers to this question. I want to see what your thoughts are as I roll through this thing here. If I do this, if I have this situation, let's say let's not have the point. We'll do the point. Let's say the point's 10, doesn't matter. And I've got this situation right here. Let's say that right now we're in a profit. Let's say we have profit. We're in good shape. You have to make a decision here, because if the 7 were to come right now, potential profit is 210. If I pull it all down, it's 210 in my rack. Can we agree on that? Everything out here, turn it all off. 210, I go home. If the 7 comes, it's only a $100 profit, right? I'm going to bring 210 back to the rack, but I would have lost potential of another $110. This is a wash. You're kissing your sister right here if you leave it all up. At this point, you're completely hedged. It makes no sense. The other option, like I said, is take all this down, play for the 7. This goes to your rack, and you play for the 7 and do it that way. That would be a great option to have too. But you can't do both. You can't sit here and play both sides of this thing. I think that's where we get screwed, is by trying to play both sides of this. I think you got to pull one down. If it's me, I'm pulling this down and pressing up if it's a good roll, or if Ed is rolling, I might do that. If I'm not feeling it, somebody said pull everything down, sure, then pull all this shit down up here and leave that up. Lock up the 110 and then get another 100 on the 7. That doubles your potential winnings. But you can't leave it all out here. I think leaving it all out here is dumb. So you either got to pull it all down here or pull that down there and make a decision, go a direction. PJ always tells me, pick a direction and go. You go hybrid in situations like this to get to this point where you can make the decision. I think hybrid strategies, to me, are built to get you to the point at where you're at even, right? You build a hybrid, you get your rack set. My money's back in my rack that I started with, and I have even money hedge on the board. Now I make a call, right? If I've got my 275 back in the rack and I've got 100 here and 100 here, I want to make a decision. Which 100 do I want to pull back to my rack and go with the other one and try and make money with it? That's the way that I do it. Old number 7 said, yeah, don't give away your advantage. Here's the reason why sometimes I would. And again, it depends on who's there, on the shot, how the shot's going. If you leave the flat don't, right, you're limiting your profit. Your profit is $100. You can put odds on it, of course, but your profit is what that one bet is, and that's all that it could ever be. If you pull the don't pass bet down and leave the place bets up, you've locked up the 100, Your potential profit is those numbers hitting multiple times, regressing, building back up. On a longer roll, that's opportunity cost. There's a cost to blowing opportunity. And I think if you're even in your rack, you can either make a guaranteed, not a guaranteed, but a flat only 100, or you can take the box numbers and try and build them for more profit. That's greed, that's gambling, right? But if you're in a profit position, either choice is going to be good. You can guarantee yourself $100 by pulling back the pass line or the box bets. Guarantee that by pulling them down and leaving the 100. You can guarantee yourself $100 in profit by pulling down the don't pass. Either way, you're guaranteed 100. It's what do you want the $100 that's working for you to do? I want that $100 to work harder for me, so I leave the place bets up in most cases. That's the reason why I do that. Not because I'm trying to blow an advantage. And you're right, the 7 is strong, but it's limited, right? And again, we can look. I'll show you one more time why I say that. In this situation, right? The point is 10. This is the strongest bet on the table right now. That's the best bet anywhere I got. It's the best bet, but it's limited to that, right? If I did something stupid like this, I put everything at risk, right? That's ridiculous. What I'm suggesting that you do is say, well, we've got $100 out here. I'm going to lock up $100 either way. I'm taking either this 100 to my rack and I'm locking that up and letting this thing resolve itself. I may lose that bet. Or I'm going to leave these out here and I look at these bets as opportunity. Again, I'm going to guarantee $100 profit, and I have opportunity to go. That's the thing I'm looking for. So when I look at pulling down a don't, it's not because I'm scared of anything. It's because I want to lock in a profit of some kind, and I can lock in the 100 from the don't. I can lock in the 100 from the place bets, but I'm locking in 100 either way. That hedge is bullshit. I'm not doing the hedge thing. Pick a side and go. I like opportunity versus that flat guarantee. The 7's not a guarantee. You saw me hit it. You saw me knock my 7 down so many times. That's why I do that. So hope that makes sense. I think there's a lot of chat going on here. It's cool. Greg is teasing a video, the 555 Ultimate Butterburg. I can't wait to see that. I think this is a fun strategy. We're having a good time here. I think this is really, really, really fun. The strategy is fun. I like the transitional piece of it. The work I did today transitioning actually worked out well for us twice. It was good to demonstrate that with actual dice rolls. It also showed today how resilient this thing is. We looked again. I'll go back to the notes here. We did exhibit low volatility. We lost bad twice and never got deep in our bankroll because we played it smart. We know what the win and loss conditions are. I think the come out hedge of the 10 is the best way to beat the 7. It's still a little bit risky, but it worked out every time today. So I think that worked out pretty good. This strategy, if you're playing it safe-ish, the come out roll is not a big issue. It's the 1 and 2 length rolls that hurt you here. 1 roll and a 7 sucks. 1 roll and a point sucks. Anything you can get more than 2 into roll 3 where you're getting 1 or 2 score hits, you're always going to be fine in profit. And if you scale this thing up to the $100 level like Dan does, it's essentially a 1 hit and down strategy. 1 or 2 hits and down, that's 140 to 280 in profit, and you're out of here. It's a good deal. So that is the Butterburg breakdown. Hopefully that all made sense. I know I was rambling there a little bit. That's fine. Liam Neeson, Peter Quill. This is great. I missed this one. A hedge player is a man lost in the scramble for his own gratification. That's great. Again, hedging is a tax, right? What we do here is a hybrid where the goal is to get rid of the hedge. My goal is to get rid of my hedge as soon as possible. I want that hedge gone the minute I don't need it. And again, I could be looking at it the other way around. You can say that your box numbers are hedging your 7. You could look at it that way too. But that's cool. Yeah, Wham, this is not the Butterburg, right? The Butterburg is this. Let's talk about this. The Butterburg is the don't pass across rack every single time, play your bet. That's the core Butterburg. And I did that the first time through. It worked perfectly. Then I said, let's take the reds and reinvest the reds. That's where my change to the Butterburg is. The minute I'm even in my rack, I'm trying to make a decision. Once I'm at profit point, I make my decisions. I think Dan agrees with that too. We talked about doing that. The do we don't, again, I don't do it only because A, I can't, and B, I don't like having that giant pile of odds back there as my only protection. That's too high a risk. And you saw today with the number of points that I rolled, we would have got smoked on that today. And to me, it's just a little bit too risque to do that. So that's why I don't do that. Check in chat here for anything else. All right. Nothing new that I can see there. I am waiting for this. The 555 version will change your life. Greg, I can't wait to see what you've done to this thing. I like the way I'm playing it now. I like the transitional way, but I want to see what Greg's done. Because I know that Greg has seen the same danger points that I had. The point kills you. The early 7 kills you. So let's see what Greg did. Greg, post your video. Let's all run over to Greg's channel, watch that later on here, and I will see you all. Are you going to do it live, Greg? Or are you doing it? Did you record it? Greg, I'll wait for Greg's chat. I want to know the answer to this question. The do we know is the best part. Why is it the best part? All right, let's go. I have to stop. We got to go to the table. The do we don't is the worst part of the Butterburg. And I love Dan, but this is the problem. I can't play it either, but look at this, right? We use my table, right? The 160 and the 100, okay? And your do we don'ted, right? Now my exposure is 375, not 275, and I have to do this. I got to lay 200 bucks to save the 160. Or if I'm going to save the whole 160, now I've got to go to 340 or so on the lay to protect this. When I roll that 10, all that goes away. That's a big, 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 big risk. It's gross. I don't like huge lays. Even though the 7 is strong, that's an enormous amount of bankroll to put out there on one of the dangerous scenarios. That's the reason why I don't like it. I would rather fight the 7 and have a flat, strong $100 1-to-1 bet. That's a little bit less than this, right? If you really are froggy about it, you want to go, 200 on the don't pass. Fine, go 200 on the don't, and have a bigger layup here to get out. But I don't love that stack of black. I don't love having giant lays like that. That to me is too much exposure financially. And that's the reason why I don't like it. That's the only reason why I don't like the do we don't version of this thing, because the lay bet is just too much risk for me, for sure. For most people I know, you just can't do that, and that's the thing. So, Greg he's going live. Tell us what time, Greg, so we can all set a clock. I work today, so I want to make sure I don't miss your live stream. So drop in the chat here what time you're going to go live, and I will set my watch, and we'll go watch Greg's version of it. And this is super fun. So, yeah, Dantana says, do the PDP. I just don't do it. And again, I'm not allowed to. But also, that enormous lay to me is just it's too much exposure. And you got whacked with it a few times, Dan, in your videos too. And I just feel like that point exposure is just a little too much. So that's why I do I think the lay bet is the way to go. I think the lay bet is the way to beat the come out for me. And then I've got one single flat 1-to-1 payout bet. Best payout in the house is that 1-to-1 flat bet. So that's why I choose to go that route. I think it's a better way to play it anyway. So that's the reason why. That's true. So HDS saying, why do that when I can choose the number to lay? And again, the idea is that you've got your flat. I love that flat don't pass bet is the best, man. That's 1-to-1 on the 7 is freaking fantastic. I love it. And again, I love it so much I pulled it down at the end to lock it up. So again, lock up those profits. I don't want this side talk here to lose the point that I made earlier, which was when your rack is even, when you're in a profit position and you're also at the same time hedged, you got to pull either the don't or the line. One of the two's got to go, so you can make. They're both opportunities. You just got to pick the one. So pick your path. Anyway, that's it. I'm out. I got to go to work. It's 9:20. It's been an hour live stream today. So thank you all for your time. Happy Thursday. Happy weekend. I'll be in transit until Monday. I won't see you until Monday, but I will see Greg. I'll see Greg and you all on his live stream later. So I'll see you there. Be chatting with you, but I'm out of here until Monday. I'll see you then. Next week, I'm going to reinvigorate the series I did before, which was the Win 3 Units series. And we're going to run variations of strategies to win 3 units from 16. So we're going to try that And really, I want to lean into Jacob's message. So Jacob from Waging Me This' message is, it's bankroll, it's opportunity, it's strategy, and it's the marriage of the three that gets you out. And we're gonna talk about that in great detail Monday, and redo the 3-unit breakdown. So that's it. SJ, thank you too as well. Thanks for joining in, everybody. See you on Greg's show later on. But in the meantime, God bless y'all, and I'll see you for sure in person on Monday. Thank you. Bye. Oh, yep. I'll talk to you later on that. Bye.